What's going on, y'all? What it is? So let's go ahead and slide on this update as it pertains to DeQuantes Devontae Lamar, aka Rich Homie Quan. So there's a lot of speculation and a lot of theories that are being pushed out there. And again, I want to make this statement very, very clear. We do not know the gist of really what's going on until the toxicology report comes back. But at the end of the day, it's a fair conversation to be had in regards to people being taken aback and puzzled by the premature passing of Rich Homie Quan. Now, I decided to go back and just do my due diligence and research into Rich Homie Quan to see if I found anything that really stood out. You know, he first hit the scene back in 2011 and didn't blow up until 2013. And it was basically that magical stretch from 2013 to 2015 where he had that run and he had the streets of Atlanta in a chokehold, especially when it came to the music scene. And make no mistake about it, Quan's music touched a lot of people all over the country, right? A lot of people felt like Quan became a household name, and he did. In my opinion, he is an Atlanta legend. Now, upon doing my research, I just noticed the normal things that I talked about in my last video in regards to the passing of Rich Homie Quan, and that was the fall off between him and Young Thug and their relationship. Their relationship became severed. And in fact, in 2015, it seems as though Young Thug's career took off. And I'm being respectful when I say this, it just seems like Rich Homie Quan took a back seat way to the very back because his career just fell off. And in my opinion, I feel that Young Thug wanted it to be that way. Now, another thing that I found interesting is that Rich Homie Quan made a song back in 2018 called 34. And isn't it ironic that he passed away at the age of 34? Now, I'm not trying to push no conspiracy behind this. It could be just a coincidence, but it's just particularly strange to me, right? Now, for those of you who follow me tight, you will know that I once lived in Atlanta for many, many years, so I have some connections there. And so I reached out to one of my homies to see what they were saying in the streets. I'm pretty sure that he has his ear to the streets. I didn't expect to get anything because he's one of those street cats and the street politics overrule anything. But he gave me a little bit of something, and I'm gonna read that to you guys later, right? I was surprised that he actually spoke on it, and it was very interesting to say the very least. Now, another thing that I find very funny is the fact that Rich Homie Quan unfortunately passed away on September the 5th. On September the 6th, Young Thug and his lawyer was in court. His lawyer's name is Brian Steele, and he was arguing the fact that the reason why the prosecution did not call Rich Homie Quan to testify in the YSL RICO case is based off the fact that they felt that Rich Homie Quan was going to defend Young Thug. Now, what I find interesting is that they said this a day after Rich Homie Quan passed away. But the streets are saying that there is surmounting evidence that Quan was going to testify against Thug in the RICO case before he passed away. Check out this clip of Brian Steele saying this in court a day after Rich Homie Quan passed away.
Rich Homie Quan has given interviews shortly after January 10th, 2015, all the way up to 2024, consistently how close he and Jeffrey Williams are. The prosecution said that Rich Homie Quan, his real name is Mr. Lamar, that he was coming to court and he would be testifying. And the prosecution did not call him. He was on a short list. He was under subpoena. They did not call him. I have a good faith belief that the state did not call him because he gave exculpatory information about his relationship with Jeffrey Williams. So for the prosecutor to then say in front of the jury, and please check the record to make sure that what I'm saying is what was said by Ms. Love, but I immediately would have made this motion if you did not allow me to preserve it. And a lawyer can't tell the testimony. This is what happened. Brian Steele knows this. That is untruthful. In fact, I know the opposite.
All right. So my recollection is that Miss Love said that the evidence shows that after a certain date, one of the people in this picture no longer hung around Mr. Williams.
Okay, good.
That's a closer
That is not true.
account.
What the state was trying, their crazy theory, in my opinion, is that in the fall of 2014, Mr. Williams somehow cared about Rich Homie Quan signing with a third party. His name is Mr. Brian Williams, which is Birdman.
Right.
And somehow that because Donovan Thomas said, no, Mr. Rich Homie Quan, don't sign with Birdman, that Jeffrey Williams has now a motivation to Donovan Thomas. None of that comes out. And it's untruthful. As you saw, they are playing together, they being Jeffrey Williams and Rich Homie Quan, on New Year's of
Well, you know what?
2014.
There are plenty of band members who play together and hate each other. So them playing together doesn't establish anything.
All right, so you guys just heard that. Now, Brian Steele, he's a good lawyer, right? Almost a great lawyer. And you probably would want him on your side if you had a case to this magnitude like Young Thug has. But he's lying here, in my opinion. And of course, he's gonna try to get his client off. But at the end of the day, it's very clear that Young Thug was not cool with each other, especially after the year 2015 when Thug blew up. Now, even though Birdman is not implicated within this YSL RICO trial, his name is being thrown around. Now, they mention a guy by the name of Donovan Thomas. Now, you may ask the question, who the hell is Donovan Thomas? Well, Donovan Thomas is the guy that was taken out of here by the members of YSL allegedly. But as things continue to unfold and unravel, you can tell that this was a hit by YSL, but he also went by the street name Nut. So Donovan Thomas did not want Rich Homie Quan signing to a third party, which would have been under Birdman's label. But guess who cared about it? Young Thug. And so now it all comes to light. So they say that Rich Homie Quan's name was all over the paperwork for snitching. I wonder if this is what Rich Homie Quan snitched about and actually told the truth in regards to what happened to Nut, based off of the fact that Donovan Thomas did not want Rich Homie Quan to go sign with Birdman. And so Young Thug and the YSL affiliates took it upon themselves, probably a shot called down from Birdman, allegedly, and the order was given to take out Donovan Thomas, aka Nut, and it was probably executed by YSL Woody, allegedly. Now, what I want to do right here is I want to play this clip from this lady. I don't know her name. I do apologize. I don't mean to offend her by not knowing her name, but I'm not saying that what she's going to speak about is actual facts. But I just want you guys to listen to what she had to say. If you guys know her, drop her name down in the comments. And also, Rich Homie Quan's father actually spoke out about the passing of his son, and he's very emotional, of course, about this situation. And then I'll come back and read you the text message that I got from my homie in Atlanta. They gave me a little bit about what the streets are saying in Atlanta in regards to what happened to Rich Homie Quan.
Now, some of you guys were saying that you felt that Thug had something to do with it. So I checked into that as well. So let me put you up on game about that. Thug knows who did it, but he didn't have nothing to do with that. The people that was behind that, allegedly, is the ones that he turned down that he didn't want to do the deal with. I'm going to let y'all figure that out. And them folks that they work for put that call out. A GOBBM says, I think it happened because they spoke about him in court, so he's scared. It has nothing to do with that. That had nothing to do. Listen to what I'm saying to you, and I want you to listen to me carefully. That had nothing to do with nothing. Do you know how many people were mentioned in Young Thug's case that's still alive? I'm going to need you to use some common sense. There are people that are not famous, like Rich Homie, that knows more about Young Thug's dealings than Rich Homie himself. That's what I want to say first. And those people already turned on him and already moved against him. Let me say that. It wasn't him. But he is aware. And he knew that they were coming for him. And not only did he know, but other rappers, other executives, other people in the music business that are higher up also knew it as well. Do not think for a second that these things are not known by the people in the business, because the business, believe it or not, is very, very small. It might be an industry of like 500,000 people, if that. It may have even downgraded since then because everything has gone digital. So it may have even gotten smaller since then. And that's including touring and all that. Okay? So you might have 500,000 people that work in the music business. It's very small. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's connected to everybody. If you're not connected to the person, you can easily make a phone call to somebody who is connected to the person and get access to the person. It's very much like that. The music industry is going to change. It's going to change dramatically. There were even people behind Julio Fulio's death. So I want you guys to understand that there are hitmen that are put in place on certain levels of this business, and women. Women are more cunning with how they do things and are more quieter with how they do things. And you'll never suspect her. Very smooth, very cunning, moving like a snake, slithering around. You don't see her coming. And there are some snakes that slither just like this in the music business that I'm very much aware of. I challenge y'all this, and it's going to bug y'all out. Some of your favorite celebrities, you want to know if they're really gone or not? Go to Ancestry.com. Put in search box certain names and see what names come up in that. And that'll tell you everything you need to know. Because some of the people that you see in front of your faces are clones. They're not even here no more. Go to Ancestry.com. You'll see it there. Because see, the way these military tribunals operate, they're not going to put it out there to the public in the way that you think, but there's going to be a way that you can find the information. The music industry is and what it's tied to. Okay? It is also tied to human trafficking. It is also tied to sex trafficking. Okay? There are side things that go on behind the scenes with some of these artists. Okay? That are doing things to get their fame. That some of the stuff that they do or participate in order for these artists to get bigger and bigger, particularly black artists or quote unquote indigenous artists. Okay. They are put in positions to do certain things to get a certain amount of money or to acquire a certain amount of fame. So now, how are these artists getting to the status of billionaire? Do you think that it's just on talent alone that this is happening? No, it is not. Not only that, there are also contractual agreements with these particular labels or sub-labels or other types of businesses that are tied into these labels where these individuals, depending on their value and their worth, can also be cloned. So they have contracts with clone companies as well behind the scenes. So they have the ability, if you end up, something happen where you get caught up where the government catches you doing some stuff you ain't got no business doing, and let's say you go to trial, and these hearings are not going to be known to the public, okay? When the military is involved in any type of these types of hearings, you're never going to hear about these hearings in the public. Do not get those types of, those are called tribunals. You're never going to hear about tribunals in the public. It's not for the public. That's the reason why a lot of you guys didn't hear about that stuff back when Trump was in office, because they're tribunals, they're military tribunals. Okay? And there are certain laws in the government where if you're doing certain things or participating in certain actions that is tied to treason, you will go to tribunal and you will go with the government, and they're going to send you behind down to Guantanamo Bay and a couple other places while you await trial. Okay? Now, one or two things has happened if they don't want the public to know about these things, about these people, who's doing what with who or whatever. They can either reclone you, or they're going to bring in a body double, okay, to mimic you, or they're going to use CGI. So a lot of you guys think you're still seeing a real artist, and you're not really seeing these artists. Or there's artists that has completely changed their appearance and look, where they kind of look like the same, but they're not really the same, but they look the same. But they not, but they are. That's a clone. Okay? That's a clone. And there are certain artists that are right there in front of your face. I mean, blatantly in your face. As a matter of fact, there are two well-known artists that are very big that are military experiments. They're being used as military experiments. They have already been executed. And they are clones. Okay? their brand makes a substantial amount of money, but they are being controlled by the military or the government, okay, for money purposes, things of that nature. All right. Now, you have certain divisions within the music industry that you would never think the music industry is tied to these different factions. You would never have a reason to think like this. But the music industry is a lot more deeper than what you guys realize. Okay? It's really deeper than rap. Now,
I mean, just respectful. I don't mean any disrespect by us at all, but I mean, there are, in this era we live in now, there's so many people saying so many different things on social. I mean, I know this just happened. Do you guys have any idea of what happened? Yes. I mean,
I have no idea at this time. Basically, I'm waiting on the toxicology report. I don't know. I don't know. When I got there, he was being brought out on a stretcher. And once they went to the hospital with my son, I immediately went in the house and started praying.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm like everybody else. I have to wait and see. I don't want to speculate. I stand on principles. I stand on values. I won't lie. I won't lie. And if it's something that can prevent...
I mean, you're his father, but it sounded like he looked at you as a mentor and really like a best friend. Like,
Yeah, we had a unique relationship because we were father and son. But we had a we called each other my best friend. We spoke daily. We spoke several times. The day before he passed, I looked at my phone. We was on the phone like 11 times.
wow.
We had a bond. You know, we had a bond. Like, I grew up without my father. So I knew that if I ever had kids, I was going to be in their lives. And I've been in his life since day one up until he passed. So yeah, we had a unique bond, you know.
He also was a father, right?
Yes, he has 5 kids. I have 4 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. And he had just started to gravitate to being a father. We had just had a conversation and he told me, Dad, you know, I'm getting this parenting thing down now.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like accepting it. And it's crazy because this past summer, he had all of his kids with him. And he was happy because I don't think he had ever had just all of them over a course like they were there for like 30 days. And he had them, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, maybe God knew, you know.
Legal name, tell me about his childhood and how he grew up. And
DeQuantis Lamar. He grew up, in Indicator over in East Atlanta. Played football and baseball, all coming up out of Old National. Played baseball up until his 12th grade year at McNair. Had a scholarship, got there, say he got homesick and came home. Got in some trouble, went to jail, came home, told me he wanted to be a rapper. I was like, you know, that's a slippery, slippery slope.
yeah.
And I encouraged him to go to engineering school. But he was like, Dad, I want to be a rapper. And he stuck to it.
And he took off from there.
And he took off. I think what really hurts me is that me and my son had a conversation where it's like as artists, you're more appreciated in death than you are alive. And unfortunately, I'm seeing it. Now that he's gone, the love is everywhere.
How should he be remembered?
That he was a trendsetter, that he made hits, and I used to tell him it's a difference in making songs and making hits. And he made hits, and I know that his music will live on forever. And I know as far as the city of Atlanta goes, he's a legend. I taught him humility. I taught him to stay grounded. But you have to call an ace and a spade. And my son is one of the greatest artists that came out of Atlanta, a true lyricist. I've been in the studio with my son, and I seen him just go in the booth with no pen and paper and make hits. Like, that's God-given talent. So I just want them to remember that.
Back to him professionally, was he working on any projects that were coming?
Yes.
Or what was, a lot of people are talking like he had some stuff that was really
Yes, we had just completed, I think it's 20 or 25 song project, and we were in the process of scheduling, shooting 2 videos off the project, a feature from 2 Chainz and a feature from Plies, and we had 2 shows in Miami this weekend.
This weekend
coming up, and we were supposed to fly out tonight, and he had said that we was gonna try to get in touch with Plies and shoot a video while we were there to the Plies song, and him and 2 Chainz had been in communication about getting the schedules together to shoot the video to the songs that they had. So yeah, he has a, like, artists tend to take music to a sense that they're their babies.
All right, so you guys just heard all of that. Now I want to jump directly into the text message that I got from my homeboy in Atlanta. Now, before I convey any of this information, I do want to say that the information that I'm about to read to you is all alleged, right? So it says, man, what I'm gathering from the streets is that this was an industry hit and Thug know where it came from. Quan was about to make a comeback too, and that's the part that is so sad. You know, Slime kind of bullied him out of the industry when he took off. He's referring to Thug when he said Slime. Thug wanted his spot and was plotting the whole time. They were featured together on mixtapes. Quan had his run first, and Thug kind of made an issue out of nothing, and Quan felt the need to stay away to try to avoid that street S. Quan wasn't a scary guy, he just wasn't built for the street beef. But there's some S that goes deeper than rap, but a lot of people feel that they set Quan up and got him out the way because he was going to testify in court about the deletion of Nut. They are saying that someone was chilling with Quan earlier during the day before he passed away the next morning. That brother is out of mind and out of sight. That brother went ghost. Streets looking for him though. Can't say dude name because of street politics. All right, so you guys just heard all of that. Like I said, this is all alleged information, but I believe this brother when he says that this is what the streets is saying doesn't mean that the streets are right, but I believe he would not tell me anything different than what the streets are saying. So respect to that brother. Shout out to you, man. But anyway, guys, the lady that you heard talking, she basically alluded to the fact, she didn't say his name, but she alluded to the fact that Birdman may have something to do with the passing of Rich Homie Quan, allegedly, right? We're gonna say allegedly because we don't know here, but she was saying it without saying it. So again, I know we gotta wait until the toxicology report comes out and things of that nature, I get it, and we do also understand that Rich Homie Quan did have an addiction issue, but it doesn't mean that he passed away knowingly from his addiction. He could have been administered too much without him knowing. So anything and everything is not out of the realm of possibility of what could have happened to Rich Homie Quan. But anyway, I'm gonna draw the line here. I want you guys to drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about everything that was discussed within this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and if you're new here, consider subbing to the channel. I'll get with you guys later. Peace.